Well, we continue to closely follow the devastating bridge collapse in Baltimore, Maryland early this morning. A massive and frantic search effort is underway to rescue at least 6 people, as well as any drivers that were in vehicles that may have been driving on the Francis Scott Key Bridge this morning. A cargo container ship lost power and drifted into one of the main bridge supports there. It's a 1.6-mile bridge. A large portion of that has tumbled into the Patapsco River here. It all happened in just a matter of minutes. We know there were construction crews on the bridge at the time of that collapse. They were filling potholes at the time. We also know sonar has shown several vehicles in the river. Water depth here is around 50 feet. We also know this, the water is awfully cold right now this time of year. Water temperatures have been hovering right around 50 degrees or so. So it definitely is a race against time as we want to get to these people. If there are any survivors, we want to get to them as quickly as possible before hypothermia takes over. Absolutely. Time is truly of the essence here as we look at the Baltimore Harbor, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. When you're looking at water temperatures in that 50 to 59 degree range, you could be unconscious in 1 to 2 hours. Survival time with flotation, only about 3 to 5 hours. So again, time is crucial. Well, to share more on the challenging conditions that rescuers face as they search for survivors, I want to bring a good friend of the show, Kevin Coop Cooper, not just our Sierra Snow expert, also a former member of the U.S. Coast Guard as an aviation survival technician. Coop, thanks for being with us. In a circumstance like this, what would the Coast Guard's role be? And we're talking about there with the water temperatures. How imperative is it that they work very quickly?
It's very imperative. Great question there. We're talking about waters. I was looking at that in that area, 46 to 48 degrees. That's going to be a quick onset for hypothermia. So the Coast Guard's role in this is when they first got dispatched out to that, there was an officer in charge that was put. Rescue swimmers and their teams were given a brief before they went out, but it's imperative for them to find these people as quickly as possible. Now, they're going to be working with multiple different organizations out there. You're going to be dealing with the local water authority out there. That's East Coast. I'm not sure what they have in that port, but the Port Authority, sheriffs, police departments, but it's a quick, hasty search that they're underway with right now.
Coop, we mentioned the sonar to detect vehicles. What other tools do you have? I would imagine you mentioned rescue swimmers. They're searching by air as well. What kind of tools do you have to try to locate these people?
Well, nowadays, what they will have is they're going to have some submersibles out there, and I'm sure they've reached out to multiple different agencies to get those submersibles in the water. If I understand it right, that water is approximately about 40 to 48 feet deep. So that's going to be a quick reaction, but they've got to get those submersibles down there, look for those vehicles in the water, and then look for bodies. There's a lot of debris in the water, so that's going to be a lot of slow search with small boats that are going to be out and around where all that material from that bridge has fallen. That's very dangerous because it's unstable, it's on water, so everybody has to be very careful because it's also the responsibility for the Coast Guard to protect themselves, but they do need to find those people as quickly as possible. That's some cold stuff.
If someone happens to be, say, in their vehicle, when there may have been some vehicles that went into the water and there's air within their vehicle, they're just submerged right now, how do you extract someone from that vehicle at that depth, and how do you locate them in that murky water?
Well, that's going to be those submersibles out there. I'm sure they have some divers that are on scene right now, most likely from the fire departments and the local law enforcement agencies are already in the water. There could be naval assets on board too, U.S. Navy taking a look at that. But that's a great question, Mike, because that all depends on the circumstance on what they go and what they find. Is the car upside down? Is it on its side? How do they enter into it? Where's the person? You have glass in there. Is there debris on top of the car? We don't know, so I can't see it, but it's going to be a very tricky situation, and again, they've got a little bit of time from SAR, search and rescue, active, to body recovery.
You mentioned debris in the water. You mentioned the cold temperatures. Anything else that we're not thinking of that could be a big challenge to the rescuers?
It's the debris in that water. I watched just the film and just to see how that bridge collapsed. That's a lot of angle iron. There's asphalt down there. So there's just a lot of debris. And I'm not sure all of what it is, but that is a very dangerous situation.
Does that mean then that likely they're being extra careful, right? They're going slow, which isn't beneficial for people that might be actually trapped underneath that water?
Slow is steady, steady is fast, Mike. You got to be careful with this kind of stuff because if you move one thing, there could be objects above that could fall down. That could injure the rescuer. That could cause further injury. So they've really got to look and assess each separate individual situation.
All right, Kevin Coop Cooper, former Coast Guard rescue swimmer, founder of Cooper Media, again, friend of the show. Usually talk to you about snow, but really, really appreciate your expertise here in this situation.
difficult.